This is the Boom Factor, where innovation meets technology. Good afternoon, everybody. On today's program, the Boom Factor, we are in episode 1, and today we are welcoming 2 amazing ambassadors for culture in the workplace. We have the author and founder of WeCulture, Chris Ciulla. Welcome, Chris. And we have lead talent agent and with over 1 year experience with recruiterboom is Sydney Gagnon. Welcome, Sydney.
Thank you so much. So super excited to be here.
Love it. We love having you guys on the show today. So, yeah, first off, I'm going to kick it right off. You know, Chris is the author and founder of WeCulture. He wrote a book a few years ago about WeCulture in the workplace, and it's called WeCulture: Empowering Teams to Drive Results. Chris, first off, would love to just kind of kick it right off and ask Chris, what makes a great culture?
Great culture is made by great people, right? You know, we talk about this a lot throughout the book in WeCulture. One of the main questions it asks right in chapter 2, and it's the title of chapter 2, is who creates the culture? And the real answer to that question is we all do. So good culture really comes from good people. And the premise of WeCulture is that you're inviting people in to the organization that share your core values and your core qualities. And if you have those things in common, usually it's really easy to drive results.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Well, hey, Sydney, we asked you to join us on the show today just because you've been actually, you've seen WeCulture in action. So I would love to really just kind of hear from you, how has WeCulture affected teams you've either led or been a part of?
Yeah, definitely. So when I started my time at recruiterboom, one of the first things that Will mentioned to me when I was interviewing was how big a focus they have on culture, which was super exciting to me. And going through my experience there, like we've had book clubs, we've talked about this book extensively, and it's amazing to see how important it is to the people like Will and Amanda. And that just carries throughout the organization. Like Chris said, we create the culture. So it's super cool to be surrounded by people who are, living by the core values. Everybody's positive, honest, and ethical. And I mean, we're all pedaling the bike together. So it's just an awesome environment to be in. And I think it was an invaluable place to work. And I'm super glad that I, have the chance to know this and be able to spread this.
Awesome. That's great. Now, Chris, I guess the book's kind of written, toward not only leaders but also employees. So in terms of just the average, leader or business owner or even overall, employee in the workplace, like what can they do to improve their culture to drive results?
Well, really, the book talks about how the workplace has changed. And most entrepreneurs drive their business through sheer force of their own will, right? They have their own vision. They believe in their product or their service. And they usually drive to a point where through sheer force of will, and then the business reaches a point where their contribution alone or their personal involvement alone is not enough. So the book talks about how the workplace has changed and how we motivate people has changed. Millennials are motivated by different things than my generation. I'm Generation X, and then there's baby boomers out there. And millennials are now the majority of the workforce. And what they're motivated by is way different than what we are motivated by. My dad told me to climb the corporate ladder, go to work, be quiet, get a job at a big company, and work your way to a middle management job. Millennials are motivated by something different. They want to be part of an organization that has good values. They want to be part of the greater good. They want to be contributing to the larger goals of the organization, and they want a voice. They don't want to climb the ladder. They want to create their own ladder to success. And it's really important that anybody who's creating culture keeps in mind that every employee they have on the team is included in what that culture is. Like, I love the fact that Sydney talked about what recruiterboom that, and most of our customers do, where they have everybody read the book and they have a book review and they go over all the chapters and what it means to them and how they contribute to the culture from day one. that's the best way to make sure that you can engage your employees, or at least start to engage your employees to drive results. And the real advice that I would give any business leader is to remember the way you're personally motivated may be different than the target audience you're hiring. And most business owners are hiring millennials because they're the majority of the workforce.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that segues really well into something that I took from the book was that you can be the spark, you can be the person that changes the culture. So I can't remember off the top of my head what the statistic was, but I want to say there was something in the book that said, if there's a certain amount of people in a room that are bringing people down, it takes more people to bring them back and kind of be the spark and, circle the wagons and get everybody to be on the right page. So it's something that you can kind of take upon yourself. Like, if you walk into a company and maybe they don't have the greatest culture, like you can be the spark. And I think that's a great, reason to read the book. You can see that obviously it can take one person and one person affects another person. It's kind of a ripple effect, which I think is fantastic. It doesn't have to be everyone. It starts with you and, we create the culture, but you can start it. And I think that's super powerful.
Sid's point is so on time for what WeCulture really is. And it's really about individuals in the organization. You don't have to be a leader to lead. You can lead through your own actions. And I've seen environments where people who are colleagues, they don't manage, are not charged to lead a group of people, but take a leadership role through their own actions, their own attitudes, and how they conduct themselves every day. You talk about negative energy. In a small environment, it can only take one or two negative employees to really make it a miserable place to work. But on the other hand, a couple of really positive people, a couple of people really focused on results, a couple of people really focused on how do I help the team win every day, that can make a great change. A question I ask myself, and I actually, this is written in the book too, I show up to work every day and I ask myself one question when I go to work every day. I brush my teeth in the morning and I sit there and look in the mirror and say to myself, how am I going to make today this much better than yesterday? For the people I'm working with, the people I'm charged to lead, my colleagues, my peers, how is today for me too? What action am I going to take to make today a little better than yesterday? And it all starts right there. Good point, Sid.
Yeah, and it goes back to, I remember seeing your selfie on LinkedIn, Chris, and I know we talked recently after that, and you were just like, I woke up, I wasn't feeling it, but I was like, what, who am I bringing to work today? And you decided to make it a better day. And I think that's kind of the essence of the book, like you have to go in and you have to have a good head on your shoulders and just kind of make the best of it. And that, like we said, that can change somebody else's day. And, I think that's a great way to start.
Love it. Love it. That's amazing. And I guess, a lot of folks, actually ask me about you, Chris, and I actually want to, I'll tell them my own view of it, but I'd love to hear it from you. Like, what inspired you originally in the first place to write the book, WeCulture?
Failure is part of life, and a lot of people try and avoid failure. But failure is a really good thing as long as it doesn't, give you a catastrophic or fatal injury, right? So WeCulture is really born out of my own failure. I wasn't always a good leader, and I failed as a leader. I spent 9 years at a company where I did not do a good job effectively motivating my team. I helped people make a lot of money, but that isn't what motivates people. People want to be part of a great work environment where they can work together towards common goals and for positive leaders. And I wasn't a good leader, and I didn't like myself very much. So after I left that job, I had a few weeks to kind of regroup and evaluate it, and I realized that the reason I was so miserable and such a miserable leader is because I strayed from my own core values. So I wrote them down on a piece of paper and said to myself, I will never stray from these core values again. And my core values are pedal the bike, which means we all work as a team. They're be positive, right? People who say they can are usually right, and people who say they can't are almost always right without fail, right? And be honest and ethical, right? No one will ever fault you if you're honest and tell the truth and you're very sincere with your feedback. Honest and ethical is not an excuse to be rude or obnoxious or mean to someone. Honest and ethical just means that you present the information that you have in a very truthful and ethical manner. So really the inspiration was my own failure. And, after that, after I created WeCulture, it kind of was something I was cultivating in my own mind and on paper for about a year and a half. And then I found an environment where it was a great place to incubate it, and I took the opportunity. It was the smallest job I'd had in 10 years. It was the smallest P&L I ever managed, the smallest office I ever managed. But I took the job because I knew that we could make that a great business if we just put WeCulture in place. And we did. We grew 50%, compounding 2 years in a row, and 20% in the third year. And I was promoted and executing and putting WeCulture into practice across my region.
That's amazing. That's inspiring stuff, Chris. I love that. Well, I guess so my next question is, how so far the book's been out a few years now. So already, and I think Recruiter Boom already is already is a testimonial for how WeCultures help teams and businesses. But in addition to Recruiter Boom, Chris, how has your book made an impact and influenced companies out there?
So we have other clients. Some of them create WeCulture channels. I'm also a patient. I'm also a client. So I'm the president of my own firm, president of a firm, and we are a global company, and we've rolled out WeCulture globally. We took a company that was struggling, and now we're a growing and thriving organization again in just under a year, and we are practicing WeCulture to the nth degree. There are 3 other clients. 2 of them have their own WeCulture channels they promote through social media. So that's how it affects clients. And really what I want to say is about clients, then I'll switch over to individuals. This is not corporate cotton candy. This is not chicken soup for the corporate soul. This is really something, and Sydney's laughing because she knows it's true. This is about creating a great environment so that individuals can help drive results as a team for themselves. And in turn, after they drive results for themselves, working together as a team, the company gets the results they're looking for, and then the leaders get what they get by default, and the ownership gets what they get by default. So the real thing for corporations, while you're creating a good environment, you're engaging your employees, and they're motivated to drive the best results. If they're in an environment where they feel trusted, they feel loved, they feel respected, and they feel heard, then they'll focus on their jobs. And I think the other thing was me helping people on an individual level. There are a lot of folks out there who feel very disengaged at work. The vast majority of employees around the world are disengaged. The U.S. numbers are 2/3 of employees are either actively disengaged or just passively engaged or not engaged at all. Around the world, it's much greater than that. It's only about 18% employee engagement around the world outside the U.S. So when people read it individually, the big thing that I've heard from individual readers was that I've come to realize that I can be the spark of change. As Sydney said, I could be the one to change my environment. Why should you go to work every day to a job you hate? And if you competed to get that job, why should you give it up on it so easy? How about you just decide to control things you can control and change your own attitude and see if it becomes contagious to the people around you? And that's the feedback I've gotten from so many individuals that have read the book. We've sold hundreds of copies, and I get a lot of comments and I get feedback, and sometimes people reach out to me because they can reach out to me publicly through social media, and they'll say, I feel like this book's an open letter to me. And I feel great to hear that because I know then that I'm helping people.
Love it. That's a great segue to my next question. And actually, first off, I wanted to just add Chris really just I think putting you just having the courage to put that out in a book, and just kind of it's rare you'll see even leaders like industry leaders putting themselves out there and really just really trying to just shake up the industry and just sales and business in general with a book that focuses on culture and how it actually can make an impact, improve speed, drive revenue. I mean, this is fantastic, all while improving the overall morale of an organization. It's incredible. And you know what? It really inspired me to really come up with and I tell my team all the time, culture on purpose, right? So we do things, everything we do, it's okay, hey, we got book club. Hey, be positive, pedal the bike, honest and ethical, right? And everyone's like, all right, we heard that a bunch of times, but you know what? We say it, and we say it deliberately because that's what we're about. So everyone knows what the person sitting next to them is all about, and that's really our internal law and order, so to speak. So that's that just pumps me up. I just love the positivity is infectious, right? And the goal is to just overcome the negativity and the natural failures in this business, in sales, right? I mean, it's a numbers game, and instead of feeling dejected and discouraged, right? The people around you can help pick you up, and more than that, just be all about winning and making winning synonymous with a positive culture. So I just love that. So actually, that's the individual aspect, Chris, really is my next segue to Sydney. And then my question to Sydney is, from a personal level, how has I guess, why is WeCulture important to you, Sydney?
So, I mean, like I said, I came right into it. Will and Amanda did such a good job of making it known that was how things were going to be. And it doesn't take long for everybody to kind of get on board. But, throughout my year and a half here, I've noticed that, the people I'm sitting next to, if I'm sitting next to somebody who's pedaling the bike, it makes me want to do better. And I think that's just the essence of it. It's contagious. People feed off of each other's energy. So, if you're sitting in between two people who are just absolutely cranking out their work, they're happy to be there, they're being positive, then you're just so much more likely to be, engaged and happy where you are. I came into work almost every day, just happy to be there. And, no matter what had happened that morning, I got there, and just being in an environment that was so welcoming and positive and high energy, it just makes doing your job, so much better. And, I can't say enough good things about, WeCulture at Recruiter Boom and how great it's been for me. I know Will and I, people have gone and done other internships after, and, we hear back from them. They're like, it only takes them a couple weeks to realize, culture is here. But, I think Will and Amanda have done such a great job of making Recruiter Boom an amazing place to work. And I think we've seen the results of that too. People are happy, people are staying. It's a contagious culture, and that's one of the reasons I love being at Recruiter Boom.
Love it, and it's all inspiration from the Godfather of WeCulture, Chris Ciulla. So we're I think I might really, Chris, this is something that Sydney said it in one of her blogs a year ago. This is something I wish I could share with everyone, because a lot of leaders out there, they're just looking at the bottom line, and they don't understand that you can help create a culture and have people buy in to positivity while making a lot of money and winning. So, my last questions for you, Chris, is, how can other people, buy the book WeCulture, and how can they implement WeCulture into their organization?
So thanks, Will. So taking a look at WeCulture, you can get it through our publisher, which is Durant's. You can go on Amazon and buy it. And then you can go to the website, which is published on the book, weincludeyou.com, and engage us. There's a contact page. You can send a contact request. And here's the great thing about WeCulture. WeCulture has a lot of how to do this baked into it. We also have a coaching service that we provide to help people establish WeCulture. It's something we did with Recruiter Boom to help them, and something we do here at Comrise to help Comrise. That's the company where I'm president. But we've also done it for other organizations. Those organizations have propped up WeCulture. We help them create core values that are specific to their own organization. Just because we have core values in the book, we don't expect them to use them. And most companies call their version of WeCulture their WeCulture. Like, we have Recruiter Room WeCulture, we have Comrise WeCulture, we have ISGF WeCulture. And the reason we do that is because it's unique and connected to your organization. There's a hiring process built in there. So after you create your core values, you can invite the right people and that share your core values to make it scalable. There's a guide to standard operating procedure, effective meetings, how to build trainings. But the most important lesson that I think everybody should take away from the book is the last chapter. It's my favorite chapter in the book. It's my personal motto, and it's be worth it. You know, so many leaders sit down and think that followers should be grateful to have a place to follow. And I think the other way. I think it's a privilege to have people that'll work with you, right? Leadership is a privilege, not a right. Even if you get appointed to a job, it's not a right. So I say to myself, if I'm going to have the privilege of people to work with every day, I want to make sure that I go in there and be worth it for them every day. I want to make sure that I am doing everything I can every day to help them win. My job as a leader is to help the people I'm charged to lead win. And once you accept that fact and you're thinking that way, and you start actually helping the people you're charged to lead win, not telling them what to do so they win, but helping them win, helping them be better professionals, helping them work better together as a team through a process. You just feel better when you go to work every day. Air smells better. Food tastes better. Everything's better. Going to work's better. I wake up and my feet hit the floor. I never wake up in the morning anymore dreading going to work. I don't have that Sunday feeling. I don't have a case of the Mondays like they said in Office Space. I'm ready to play every day, and it's not because I got to muster up the energy. Everybody has a day where it's muster up the energy. But 9 out of 10 days I'm going to work thinking to myself, I'm looking forward to going there because we're going to get stuff done today. And I'm going to be helping people win today. And the people who work with me are going to be helping each other win. And they're focusing on helping each other win. So there's a real process behind it. If you reach out to us, we can help you win too.
That's amazing stuff. It's magical. Thank you so much, Chris. And yeah, I mean, that's all the official questions I have for you, Chris, and Sydney. If there's anything you guys want to add, on top of that, or something we can, you think will help others out there in the industry, just helping them win and just get better and improve their morale, please go ahead. The floor is all yours to share.
Yeah, I guess the last thing I would like to add, being a millennial, it's Chris is so right. It's so important to have a good culture, and, it does translate over on the money side. So anyone who thinks, it's fine, like culture is fine here, it can always be better and be the spark, and just know who you're bringing to work every day and make every day a great day. So I love WeCulture, and I think it's been a huge part of my time at Recruiter Boom, and I couldn't be happier that I came across Chris and Will and such an environment where it was such an important part. So super thankful. But yeah, thanks guys.
Awesome. I love the support that I get from Sid. Sid's she's a culture warrior. I love all the support that we get from Recruiter Boom, Will and Amanda. They have a great culture, and the feedback that I get from your colleagues when I ping them back and forth on social media, and sometimes we get to talk. It's just, you have a spectacular culture, and it is culture on purpose. But I will put a message out there to all the people who go to work every day, and we see them on Facebook. You guys see them on social media. You probably have friends that are like that, with like, oh, it's only Wednesday, and baby face crying on Facebook, or they call you up you're talking on Sunday, and like, hey, what's wrong? It's like, oh, I got to go to work on Monday. If you feel that way about work, we're here to help you. We can help you. Read the book, learn about what we're about, learn about what WeCulture is all about. And you know what our motto is? We include you. And if you don't like your job, reach out to us. Go buy the book. Look, ping us on WeIncludeYou.com and find out how we can include you too. We want you to be part of what WeCulture is. Be part of the movement. Be part of the change. Be part of what makes the place you work a great place to work. Well, love Recruiter Boom. Love you and Amanda and Sid. Your support is so great, and you are like a spark of energy that make any place great to work. So thank you very much.
All right. There you have it, folks. WeCulture, engage and empower teams to drive results, by author Chris Ciulla. You can purchase this book on Amazon, or go to WeIncludeYou.com. And if you want to engage Chris and implement WeCulture into your organization, you can also reach out to Chris at WeIncludeYou.com. Thank you, Sydney Gagnon, lead talent agent from Recruiter Boom. Thank you, Chris Ciulla, founder and author of WeCulture.